That is the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest part of the ring.
Hello and welcome to episode number 104 of Hardest Part of the Ring, the podcast where four friends get together to celebrate the wonder of professional wrestling, and we are deep into lockdown.
Yeah.
It's actually extremely early days, isn't it? But let's pretend we're deep into it and it's nearly over. My name is Adam and I am here with Sam.
I'm pacing around like it's the elimination chamber. I'm in my little Perspex box ready to go.
John is here.
I'm taking it easy. This is week 4 for me.
Ooh, and Brett is here. How are you feeling, Brett? Are you better?
Yes, I'm much better. And it's
God
week,
that.
I don't know how, must be into week 4 for me too, but this is run of the mill, working from home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's become quite normalised quite quickly.
Because last week you were a bit like Tegan Knox in a box, being beaten by the cold that is Dakota Kai.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And giving you guys loads of coughs to edit out, no doubt.
I was going to
That
say,
was fun.
Listeners don't actually know how bad Brett was. He sounded quite snuffly, but we edited out a lot of coughs. A lot of coughs. And a lot of your laughing as well. Sorry, Brett, because a lot of you started laughing and then it turned into a horrendous cough. And
Yeah.
if you edited off the cough, it just sounded really, really weird. So just got rid of the laugh.
That's the thing. You guys probably didn't sound so funny then, because
Well,
I think
yeah.
I'm the only one that laughs.
yeah.
I was going to say, that was really tough for me because, 90% of them were reacting to me.
I had to cut out an entire conversation we had because Brett ruined it with his coughing.
Oh, Brett.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
Usually it's sexism.
Yeah.
But yeah, this week it was the coughing. But yeah, glad you're feeling a bit better. There is some good news. I think this is the first time of the year we're recording and it's still kind of sunny outside.
Yeah.
It's lovely out there. I've seen so many people out and about having barbecues and enjoying themselves.
God. Oh, what a weird world. Anyway, let's move on because we've got loads to talk about in this podcast. Last week we did our rewind of WWF Survivor Series 97. Just quickly before we talk about this week, a reminder that we have a t-shirt competition. We are going to give away a t-shirt during our WrestleMania pod, which is next week. If you check our social media, there's info. But basically, just leave us a review, send us a screenshot, and we'll stick you into a draw. We haven't used the random name picker for ages.
Oh my god, that got left behind along with like podcast points and humour.
Oh my God.
I still keep a tally of podcast points. Thank you very much.
Who was the last person to receive a podcast point? I'll give you a podcast point for that.
Oh, God. Give me a second. Let me get this.
We never give them out anymore.
Oh, no. Sorry. Sorry. I take it back. I note down star performers.
Oh, is that playing into this today?
That's interesting.
No, it was meant to play into... I don't know why I started...
It was
documenting
definitely
it.
meant to play into.
It'd be good for the draft.
I think it was, yeah.
Oh, well.
The world kind of ended.
Yeah.
So.
Well, for the Royal Rumble, our star performers were Bianca Belair, Drew McIntyre.
Okay, just saying.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Okay.
When maybe someone scores him low, Adam.
All right.
To
Yes.
be fair, it wasn't Adam that scored it, that gave him star performer.
Exactly. I rate him. I just don't... Did you see that promo of him, the BT Sport one, of him in Scotland, basically doing like the Highland Games, but he was in his... it was like thrashing down with rain and loads of wind on the Scottish moors, and he's wearing his ring gear.
That sounds pretty amazing. That sounds pretty...
It's a cool promo.
for him. Yeah.
It's a cool promo. Anyway, this podcast is the most self-indulgent podcast of the year, perhaps?
This is my second favourite podcast of the year that we do.
Yeah, this is kind of how the podcast started in many ways.
Sam, is your first the actual draft?
Yes, absolutely.
There you go. Yeah, this is very much sort of how it all began for us, or what sort of got us. It brought us together in many ways. We were friends before, but now we're just lovers.
Now we're good brothers.
Yeah, good brothers. Anyway, this is the Hardest Part of the Ring Draft 2019 results episode, which is our version, basically, of an annual review. It's an opportunity to discuss individual wrestlers and how they've got on over the past 12 months, which is our wrestling year, WrestleMania to WrestleMania. So back in April of last year, just after WrestleMania, on episode 66, we did our second ever podcast draft. We had been doing them for a couple of years before that. So we took it in turns to pick out wrestlers. We formed fantasy rosters, and the idea was that we would then reconvene a year later, rate each wrestler, and find out who the champion is, because we love a champion. Although there's no
year 4.
There's no award for this, is there? There's no physical.
There's definitely
thing.
like, as far as bragging rights go, this is the most important accolade of the year.
I'm on a treble here, guys.
Yeah, I feel like there should be a trophy for this with that we get engraved.
Maybe next year's the 5th year anniversary of this, so maybe that's when we get an engraved trophy.
Okay, I'm well up for that. So where were we? If you're not familiar with the draft, then you may not have listened to episode 87, which was our sort of halfway through the year. We had a little catch up with how all of our picks were getting on. But this is it. This is the final scoring, and this is when we crown our champion.
It's been a big day, guys. Big day.
It has, yeah. We've already done our scoring. Back in the day, we used to spend a couple of days speaking over Messenger, entering our scores. It was great times. But rather than release a couple of day length podcast, we have decided that we do the scores beforehand. So we did that earlier. We don't fully know what the final scores are. We've sort of kept those blanked out. We've got the listeners involved as well. So a load of you guys, thank you very much. Also filled out an online form that we put out there to give your opinions on our rosters. We've included those as well. And so, yeah, we are not far away from finding out who our champ is. If you want to have a quick look or a closer look at our rosters, then if you look on our Twitter, there is a screenshot of one of our famous spreadsheets. Obviously, we'll be referring to that regularly throughout the show, so it is a good idea to have a look at that if you can, if you've got the time.
It's the recommended reading material for this podcast.
Definitely. So we will give you a few moments to go to our Twitter, Hardest Part Pod, find that image, and have a look. And we'll have a break, and then we'll come back and we'll get to it, shall we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Drives Riddle back first, and then the Messiah of the backbreaker, utilizing that aforementioned hardest part of the ring.
Right, draft results time. First up, shall we all remind each other and the listeners of our roster names? Each year we try and come up with an amusing pun. Mostly we fail, but we'll see how we got on this year. Sam, what was yours?
This year's roster was the Elimination Shamba.
Yes.
Champion.
God.
Shamba.
It works better when you say it, because when you see it written down, it's like, that is bullshit.
Chisamba.
I think you're jealous of my French-sounding roster.
Speaking of bullshit, John, what's yours?
Great and Merry John Bash.
I actually quite like that.
I know,
That's
right?
grown on me over the
I
last
listened
year.
to the old podcast, and you guys gave me so much shit for it. When I first
I
said
like it.
It proves over age.
It's grown on me
Yeah.
like one of Adam's puns.
Brett. What's yours, Brett?
And mine is Insurrection.
That's good too.
That's the best one, isn't it, really?
Probably.
Flows in.
Well,
Yeah.
Adam's is pretty good.
Yeah, Adams is pretty good. What's yours,
Mine.
Adams?
Add stream rules.
It sounds like a like a banner ad company.
It does, yeah, like a marketing.
Yeah.
It does.
Brett,
Do you know,
that's exactly what you said on the episode.
Is it?
Yeah.
I still don't think we've peaked beyond Johnny in the Bank. I think
Johnny
That's
in the
a-
Bank.
Yeah.
that's always going to be a top one.
Just
That
because it sounds
is a
like a gay
classic.
porno.
Yeah.
Tables, ladders, and chairs was pretty good. I was quite happy with that. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's move on. The scoring. What we do is we give each wrestler a score out of 10, and that is based on the year that the wrestler has had from WrestleMania to WrestleMania. Obviously, we're doing this pre-WrestleMania, even though I believe it has been filmed. It has been taped before we recorded this, which is a very weird situation that we all find ourselves in. But obviously this is all personal opinion, and it's based on how we think each act has done in relation to what we probably would have expected of them. So
As
obviously,
best our memory serves as well.
oh yeah, Yeah, so we've abstained on 90% of these. No, obviously overachievers will score highly and underachievers will score lowly. So we'll kick things off with the 2019 draft. We started by picking our keepers. So this was where we were allowed to keep one wrestler that we drafted the year before. I started off by picking Charlotte. And actually at the time, I was really annoyed. Do you remember? I was really pissed off because I didn't mean to pick Charlotte. I had somebody else and I messed up.
Was it Velveteen Dream or was it Penta? I can't remember.
I think I wanted to get Velveteen Dream, but anyway, I ended up picking Charlotte as my VIP, which is another thing that we should mention. It's basically like picking a captain, like in fantasy football. So whoever your VIP is will get double the points at the end of all this. Sam, you picked Okada.
Yeah, so that was Okada. I think that's the fourth year in a row that he's been on my roster.
Yeah. John, you got Kenny Omega.
I did. Yep.
Pretty decent. And Brett picked Aleister Black as his.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Obviously, we're not going to go through absolutely every single wrestler and give the scores because that'll take ages. But what we will do is do a quick rundown of our rosters, just in case anybody's listening and they can't access social media. I was going to say you might be out driving, but there's little chance of that. Do you remember last week I was like, do you think we're allowed out for a drive? Well, it turns out you're basically not.
No, you're not.
I'm glad that you tested that, though. You took one for the team.
Yeah, I went out last Thursday and took my daughter out. And we went to the woods and we built an amazing den. And now I realise that we weren't supposed to do that. So I'm a lawbreaker.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So our rosters are as follows: ad stream rules. I picked Sami Zayn, The Miz, Mustafa Ali, Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, Matt Riddle, Pete Dunne, Dominik Dijakovic, Kota Ibushi, Jeff Cobb, Cara Noir, Jordan Devlin, Rey Fenix, Charlotte, Alexa Bliss, Ruby Riott, Bianca Belair, Candice LeRae, Micah Satomura, Millie McKenzie, Viking Raiders, Asuka and Kairi Sane, Street Profits, and LAX, who are of course now...
Who in Kairi Sane?
Yeah.
I said Asuka, didn't I?
Yeah, we're not letting you get away with that, are we?
For fuck. Sometimes when you read stuff quick...
You did so well with Double D as well. Like
Suka. Oh dear. I mean, yeah, I haven't even explained the fact that obviously we have a number of different categories. So we've got males split into WWE, NXT, New Japan, and Indie, and then we've got WWE, NXT, and Indie women, and then WWE, NXT, and Indie tag teams. Sam, pronounce all yours totally correctly, please.
So entering into Elimination Chamber, we have Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, Samoa Joe, Seth Rollins, and Drew Gulak. Following them in, we have the Velveteen Dream, Keith Lee, and Ark.
AKA, what's he actually called?
ACH? Jordan Miles? Unemployed? I'm not sure. Following that, we have Okada and Juice Robinson, Hangman Adam Page, Penta El Zero, Spike Trivet, Becky Lynch, Lacey Evans, Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, Deonna Purrazzo, Chikara, Bea Priestley, The Iconics, The Bar, Grizzled Young Vets, and Aussie Open.
Very nice. John?
So on Great and Merry John Bash, we have Daniel Bryan, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Buddy Murphy, Roman Reigns, Adam Cole, Volta, Ilya Dragunov, Will Ospreay, Tanahashi, Kenny Omega, Puck, Chris Jericho, Sasha Banks, Ember Moon, the legend that is Mickey James, Tony Storm, Ginny, Jordan Grace, Charlie Morgan, the now retired Charlie Morgan, the Usos, Authors of Pain, Undisputed Era, and the Young Bucks.
And Brett?
Yes, at Insurrection we had Aleister Black, Andrade, AJ Styles, Chad Gable, Kofi Kingston, Johnny Gargano, Kushida, Shane Strickland. Oh no, what is he? Swerve Scott. Swerve Isaiah.
Whose house?
Swerve's house. Zack Sabre Jr., Naito, David Starr, TK Cooper, Jonathan Gresham, Ronda Rousey, Bailey, Liv Morgan, Io Shirai, Rhea Ripley, Session Moth, Candy Floss, Revival, The New Day, Mustache Mountain, and Gorillas of Destiny.
And as you will notice, listeners, we're missing a huge number of excellent AEW wrestlers there. The timing of this was pretty bad, wasn't it? Basically, I think AEW had been announced and they started saying some of the people that were going to be on the roster, but obviously we hadn't seen any of it yet.
So on that fact, actually, there was one person who had just signed for AEW this time last year, and we have a small clip of it. Dustin Rhodes has the charisma.
Yeah.
Like, he's really good on the mic, real talented promos, a fantastic wrestler, and in my opinion, an always underappreciated journeyman.
Yeah.
What a lovely tribute. I suppose we'll see the real tribute would be if you picked him in your draft.
First indie pick.
Yeah, the 50-year-old
That would be
who may
amazing.
only ever have one more match. We'll
What
see.
a match it will be, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
So, egg on my face, turns out Dustin Rhodes did have one really good last match in him.
He did.
Really good. Actually,
Absolute
several matches
bloodbath.
since. Yeah.
He has had a bunch of good matches since, but one really outstanding match.
One memorable one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at our first picks. John, as he's already referred to, was the winner of the previous year's draft. So that meant that he got to pick first. And John, you went for Daniel Bryan. Happy?
Yeah, I think overall I'm pretty happy with D. Bryan. You know, I think as far as top tier WWE talent goes, you can't get more solid than Daniel Bryan.
Do you want a draft fact?
Oh, yes, please.
Yes.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan, second time now he has been the number one pick in the entire draft.
Oh. Did John do it the year
Two-time
before?
first pick. He did.
John loves a bit of D. Bryan.
Come on,
Yeah.
he's so good.
Well, he got a average score of 8.28, which is very decent.
Highest first pick, actually, isn't he?
Yeah. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, so we should talk about the other first picks. Brett didn't get one because he'd picked Alistair Black as his keeper. But Brett, I mean, let's see, Alistair got an average of 6.16. How do you feel about that?
Devastated. He went missing. Like
Yeah.
was he injured? Did they just decide to take him off TV? God knows.
I think they
sure.
took him off.
Ever been a victim of bad booking?
He appeared to be working out hard on his Instagram. You know, I think he was okay.
Considering how awesome he'd been and the fact that he'd making the step to the main roster and they'd given him some great matches, I thought, yes, this is going to be a good score because he's solid. But
Yeah.
if you're not wrestling on TV, you're not getting a good score.
He did get married, and they let him go and have his honeymoon with Zelina Vega in Amsterdam. But it was like 2 weeks, and then he was
not
back
being
on
funny.
TV.
Selena Vega's done more on WWE TV
Yeah,
than bloody
she
Alistair
definitely
Black
has.
has.
She has
Yeah.
actually. She probably would have scored higher.
He's now in a feud with Bobby Lashley. That's probably going to do wonders for his score next year.
Oh no, Alistair Black versus Lashley at WrestleMania. Oh,
Trouble is, if Lashley goes over there, I'm cancelling my
dear
account.
me.
That's it. It's done. I'm done with WWE.
Sam, you went for Ricochet, who's got an average of 7.4, so not too
I'm
good.
pretty
not
happy
too
with
bad.
that. Yeah, I mean, kind of for WWE main roster, I think that's decent. He's had a decent year. Maybe could have done a little bit more, I reckon.
I felt that they were quite high on him a while ago, maybe 6 months ago, but since then it's kind of waned a little bit.
Yeah, I think Vince has started to bury him, isn't he?
Yeah.
With some
Yeah.
awful losses. Awful losses.
Yeah,
I mean, that Brock in Saudi Arabia one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a bit wild, that.
Yeah.
should we just skirt over my first pick?
No, we're spending 20 minutes on your first pick.
So I went for, well, in fact, let's play a little clip for who I went for. Okay, so I am going to go for Sami Zayn.
Oh.
That's not true, is it?
First round pick for Sami Zayn, back
Yeah.
2 weeks, straight in.
You serious?
Yeah, are you that shocked?
You're serious?
I'm very shocked. Really?
I think that's a potential great pick.
I mean, that for me is shock of the entire draft.
Literally
I
just
ha-
started.
Yeah, I had Sammy high up in my list.
Mad. I didn't even predict Sammy being picked.
I had
really?
Sammy fourth on my list, and for some reason I've stuck him in there as my first one, but they're all much of a
Cool.
muchness. Sami Zayn. So, yes.
So 1 year on, and I'm still wondering, was this a joke pick?
No. He's got an average of 5.4 in terms of
Which
the scores.
is generous, I think.
Quite generous. I think that's basically based on the fact that he's amazing on the mic, and he's just managed to grab a title at the last minute.
Yeah.
Because he basically didn't really do anything. Who knows if
I
it's...
think that's unfair. I think he's had a decent year.
but not as a wrestler. If he was as a manager, if we had a manager section, then yeah.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's a new thing for next year's draft.
I mean, I'd jump on Cage Match and see how many matches he's actually had, but I can't be bothered because I know it's not many. But I did pick him thinking it wasn't a joke. I just thought it's got to be his time. We know how good he is in pretty much every area, and I thought he'd get a push.
I was with you, Adam. I thought, this is going to be Sammy's year.
I mean, first pick was probably a bit ambitious, but yeah.
It's so crazy.
I'm full of regrets, to be honest with you, as we'll
I think
find
you
out.
went second as well. No, didn't you go?
No, I was like third.
Oh, I
I
thought you
think.
went third. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's just crazy. Bonkers,
let's move on.
Bonkers.
Let's pick out some other highlights or lowlights from our WWE male picks. One of them, I think Sam will be pretty chuffed with, Drew McIntyre.
Oh, yeah, that's turned out pretty well. I was playing around with the idea of him actually being my first pick and thought, Ricochet's going to be the hotter property. But
Got both.
he's come up trumps for me, hasn't he, in the bloody Royal Rumble?
8.6, 8.66, in fact, his score.
I think that's the Vince effect again, isn't it? Ricochet, the little guy who can do loads, ends up getting lost. Drew McIntyre, the massive juggernaut of a guy who's built solid, gets a massive push.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with how Drew McIntyre's been. And he's a great wrestler as well. He deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when he
He's
was
good.
doing that stuff, feuding like with Baron Corbin and in that weird little faction. Oh, no, he wasn't feuding with him. Was he actually in a little temporary
It's kind
thing
of
with him?
part of him.
Yeah,
Wasn't
it was-
him and
yeah,
Dolph.
it
Wasn't
was just like, what a waste. But yeah, he's been utilised brilliantly since then. And I wouldn't, I reckon he's probably going to win at WrestleMania.
Do you think? I think he's going to lose.
I don't know. I think he is the guy. He is the next guy, Vince's guy, and I think he's going to get the
I
belt.
don't know.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's really hard. It's going to be such a weird WrestleMania this year.
Do you know what? I don't think he's a big enough name for Brock to want to job to him.
Yeah.
I think maybe we'll have a screw job. Calling it.
We'll see.
And the trouble is, because of the build as well, because it's not been with an audience, you don't know whether there's any heat behind him, whether the audiences are in on it or not.
So true, actually. That's weird, isn't it? I mean, they were before all this happened. I think the crowd were getting into him because he was being able to show a bit more of his personality on the mic, wasn't he? Anyway, any other highlights? I thought Finn Balor, John. Obviously, he'll be an NXT pick for next year, but an interesting second pick for you there. Got an average of 7.76, which is pretty high.
Yeah, I was a bit worried about Finn Balor actually, because I actually scored him quite low. I think I gave him a 7, and everyone else kind of gave him sort of 8. I'm still not convinced. I have to be honest. I like the stuff he's doing in NXT, but it's not blowing me away yet.
It's funny, I was thinking this when I was scoring Ilya Dragunov later in the draft, as he seems to be one of those wrestlers similar to Finn Balor, who I think a lot of people are hot on, and they do all the right moves. And yet, whenever I watch one of his matches, I'm never quite as invested as I wish I was.
Yeah.
I think the bonus with Finn Balor in NXT is his repertoire grows a little now. There's a few more moves, whereas main roster, it's very much like, these are your set.
Coup de grace, sling.
NXT, there's more freedom, which it makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
The worry I have is that he's been in NXT for, it feels like quite a while now, and he hasn't had that great NXT match.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. I had as my 5th pick Bray Wyatt, which at the time was slightly controversial because I think he'd only just started coming back. But even more controversial, he's got an average score of 8.46.
Well,
John, you went for a 10.
I did. I just think the journey he's been on this year is so impressive. The character's really creative. The Fire Funhouse stuff has been so good. I think there's maybe 10 is a bit high.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily want you to bring it down, but that does seem pretty mad.
What's your favourite Bray Wyatt match?
There's none.
10 out of 10. Can't remember any of his matches, but he's a 10 out of 10
I can
guy.
remember them. It's just I wouldn't necessarily go back and then watch them again. Cause
The Daniel Bryan match was good. And then, obviously, you didn't watch it, but I really liked the Seth Rollins one in Saudi Arabia. I'm ashamed I watched it, but it was good.
So I am happy to be swayed here. Maybe 10 is too high because I can't give a wrestler who I haven't really enjoyed any of his matches a 10.
No. Listeners, what we've said is we've all put our scores in, but obviously we're going to be discussing things on the pod, so we've got a little bit of leeway to go and change the odd score. There are a few scores here which are surprising, where somebody has done a much higher or much lower score than everybody else. So there might be changes.
So because I did my first pass of scoring after a few drinks, and then the second pass, I kind of averaged them down a little bit. So I am going to put Bray down to a 9 because I still think he's had an amazing year. And
I mean, a 9 adds up with close to what our listeners have added here, which is an 8.8. So
still good.
I'm still excited to see what they do with the Fiend as well. I think there's still a lot of legs in that character.
One more pick in the WWE men, which I know we all want to talk about, is it was Brett's 5th pick. It's sort of snuck in there. It was just after he'd won the title at WrestleMania, and it was Kofi Kingston. 8.56 average.
Yeah, Kofi. I jumped on he's got a belt. Let's give him a pick.
Yeah.
To be fair to him, he defended a bunch of times.
He was a great champion. I think he was a great champion, and I think he was extremely hard done by.
Adam, I need to ask you about your scoring here. So, for listeners' sake, we've scored Kofi Kingston collectively. I've scored him 8.5. John and Brett have scored him 8. The listeners have scored 8.3. Adam, you've gone for 10.
Kofi Kingston's had the best year of his career, by far.
Is that what you need to get a 10?
Well, as I said at the start, overachievers. I'm like I score in relation to what would have been expected.
Okay.
I mean, okay. I'll tell you what, I'm going to lose half a point because of the way he lost the title.
Oh, man.
All right, Brett. That makes hardly any difference to the average.
No, I know. Hey, I need every point I can get at this.
So we're
juncture.
talking down a lot of points here. Does anyone want to try and kind of make a plea for any of their WWE men to be upscored?
I was going to say, I can't upscore Kofi when I scored him an 8.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to change mine to 10. No, I think that's the only sort of block for me is the fact that he lost the title in that manner. And then obviously he went sort of straight back to where he was before. But yeah, 9.5. I'll stick with that. Okay.
Wow.
Cool.
Good. Okay, so that is the WWE men. We're going to go on to NXT men. This could include both USA NXT and UK NXT. We'll go through all 4 of our first picks. So Sam, this was interesting because Brett had the first pick. He was all excited. And then Sam came running down the ramp with his money in the bank. With his money in the bank lunchbox to steal the first pick from Brett. So again, just to explain what that is. In fact, Sam, explain what does that mean?
The Money in the Bank lunchbox is the prize given to the end of the year quiz winner. The end of the calendar year, not the end of the wrestling year. So December. And
Just to get even more
I have
confusing.
been very fortunate to win this lunchbox 3 times now. And it allows you 1 free cash in on the hardest part of the ring draft to steal someone's first pick.
Yeah. So you stole Brett's. And who did you go for?
What a mistake. I went for Velveteen Dream.
Yeah. We all thought that was a great pick.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. Sadly, it's not worked out. And I've doubled down on this because I've also made Velveteen Dream my captain.
Yeah.
Which means double points. And he has not had a great year.
He was injured for a lot of it.
Unfortunate, yes.
Yeah.
But in the matches he's had as well, he's not quite given it 100%. And he's putting in a charge now. He's in a feud with Adam Cole.
Yeah.
But, he's timed that wrong.
He just had such a good year the year before as well. So the expectations were so high.
Yeah.
In fact, I think you guys all gave him a 10 last year and I gave him a 9, which is a running theme with the draft. But it was just, he just didn't quite live up to expectations, unfortunately. He got an average of 7.15, but that's doubled up for Sam because he's the captain, so brings him 14.32 points. So, yeah. Who was next? I think it was John, and you went for Adam Cole.
Yeah, and he's done very well for me. He got 3 10s and a 9.9 from the listeners, the second, joint highest, but only a 9 from you, Adam.
Yeah, I just went with my gut. I don't know. I thought, part of me thought, yeah, he's had a great year, but there's just something about some of his epic matches got a bit samey. And again, it's sort of like...
Do you know what?
What?
I can get on board with that. I can see where you're coming from with that. I'm not going to score him lower because I think he's been a 10 this year. But like, I think a lot of his matches have been kind of 40-minute of the same kind of formula.
Yeah. So and a 10 is a big deal for me. Like I think I've only given 4 10s. Obviously, I gave one to Kofi.
Yeah.
but well, I haven't. I've changed that to 9.5, so I've only given 3. But a 9 is still a very, very good score. Interesting to see the listeners gave an average of 9.9.
Yeah.
Obviously, just one person didn't give a 10.
Yeah, very impressive.
But yeah, 9.78 average is very, very good. I was next. I picked Matt Riddle. Obviously, absolutely delighted because not only is he a wrestler I love and a man I love, but he did have a great year. Obviously, tag champion now. I could also point out I did pick Pete Dunne in this draft, so I got both the tag champs. Yeah. Brett, you got Johnny Gargano, and you picked him as your VIP, so your captain for double points. How do you feel about that?
I did, and again, like, he suffered more with what you were talking about with Adam Cole for me, and as much as like he's putting on great matches, I don't know, they're just matches we've seen. I think this last year we've nothing's been new from him.
And he's feuding with Ciampa. I mean, we've seen it. I'm not complaining. It's not bad, but yeah.
So yeah, it just like, because it felt like seen it all before, even though it's been a good year for him, I just couldn't, even myself, score him higher than an 8.
Awkward second album for Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, kind of. So he got 8.1, doubled up to a 16.2. And that is all the NXT men first picks. Any highlights or lowlights that you guys would like to pick out from the NXT men?
Yeah, I want to talk Keith Lee, baby.
Yeah,
Keith Lee,
man of the hour.
God damn, what a year he's had.
Well, yeah, it's not even a year, though. It's like the last 6 months, isn't it, really?
He is killing it.
Yeah.
He is so good. I'm absolutely loving his stuff. I am... I think he is going to be a hot property next year.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with the score he's got overall, 9.52.
Yeah, your second pick.
Yeah. We didn't think it was going to happen for Keith either, because they sort of seemed to not want to do anything with him for a while.
It was looking a bit ropey.
Yeah. And then suddenly, like,
Survivor Series came and went. And he had those,
as well.
Yeah. I think that's why I didn't go for a 10. I gave him a 9. And again, it's just because he had so much of the actual year where it wasn't going great.
That's fair. I can get behind a 9 for him.
Yeah, and I can agree with that. But I just thought, like, even when people haven't had maybe a full year, when their half a year is more than a wrestler's whole year.
Okay,
you know, for some wrestlers who've had a whole year, I'd like that's still worthy for me.
Yeah. I mean, there is one wrestler on my roster who I will want to petition a 10 for from you, Adam, but it's not Keith Lee.
Okay, we shall see who that is at some point very soon, I imagine. Any others on there? I mean, should we talk about...
let's talk about ACH.
Oh, dear.
So
it was going so well for him. That tournament, he was awesome.
I thought I was in the money.
Yeah.
However... there was a little bit of an implosion. Some bad things were said by, I'd say, a lot of people. And overall, he's kind of removed himself from the wrestling scene at this point in time.
He's still in the indies, I think.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he did wrestle for MLW, and I think he's... Is that one of those promotions which is like AWA or A...
I think... he brings up a real serious conversation about kind of like the culture of wrestling and sort of kind of like how it is treating kind of black wrestlers and, you know, kind of minorities too. So
I think his complaints were totally legit, and I thought it was incredibly brave for him to stand up and to throw that contract away, essentially.
Agreed.
You know, in standing up for himself, because, you know, many don't, and no one really backed him up. And this is WWE, so no one backs their fellow stars up. They're just worried about their own position.
I mean, unfortunately, what I would say is he did also say some quite unsavoury things about Jay Lethal.
Yeah, he threw, you know, in that. But while that stuff's not great, you know, the headspace where you think you've made it and then you get some of that treatment and then people start having a go at you because WWE fans do that, you know, like the product is all and no one can say anything bad about it, and you must just get in it's quite a headspace.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I'm hoping he kind of bounces back from that and does well on the indies, because he's a great wrestler, and, you know, no one deserves to be treated like that.
Get back to New Japan.
John.
Yeah.
John, you gave him a 10.
I did, just for making a stand, you know,
Yeah.
standing up for what he thought was right. And for, like Brett was saying, like turning his money back on all that money, that contract, to do the right thing, I think is very brave and noble.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gave him a 5, and that's because I didn't realise it was I didn't realise that was Jordan Miles. I thought, for some reason, it was the guy. Who's the other guy in NXT who comes out?
Cameron Grimes?
No, with all the he was in the breakout tournament as well. He comes out with all like the electronic. It looks a bit like RoboCop.
Oh, he was Zema Ion. What's his name in? I can't remember his name in NXT. He was Zema Ion, though, in TNA and stuff. Yeah.
So that's, for some reason, that's who I thought of when I scored. So I scored him a 5. I mean, he did have a good tournament. So actually, I'm going to upgrade him to a 6.5. Ooh. So that his average is now a 6.7, which is pretty decent for somebody who hasn't done much for months.
For reference, he did receive a 3 from the listeners.
Yeah, there you go. The listeners scored him most harshly. They don't give a fuck about standing up for what you believe in. No, they really don't. Horrible, our listeners. One big notable absence from from NXT men was, of course, Ciampa. We talked about it on the draft. We were all a bit too scared because of his injury, but it turns out he probably would have been a good pick.
Do you know what? I'm not sure I would have scored him as high. I think maybe an 8 at highest.
Yeah. I don't think I wouldn't replace anyone in my NXT division for Ciampa.
Okay, fine.
I mean, shall we just mention what your NXT division is?
Yeah, John smashed it. Adam Cole, Volta, Dragunov. So you got a 9.78 for Adam Cole, 9.08 for Volta, and Dragunov got a 7.02. So a bit lower there, but probably fair. But yeah, some good names.
Not bad. I mean, it's got a lot of talent in NXT.
Yeah. Moving on then to New Japan and Indie as well. We'll kind of try and fit them all in together. John.
Hello.
Huge pick. You went for Will Ospreay and you named him your VIP.
Ospreay. And he got me 4 perfect 10s.
Boom. The only wrestler so far to get 4 perfect 10s. The listener, 9.4.
I was surprised about that a little bit. I thought it would be a bit higher. But yeah, I'm very happy. Captain, double those points.
Absolute no-brainer. No-brainer that he was going to be 10s all round from all of us.
Huge pick. Best wrestler in the world at the moment, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
There we go then.
I think that's our catchphrase this year, actually, isn't it?
I went for Kota Ibushi, a guy who I have picked in every single draft we've done. And again...
That's so crazy, because Sam's such a fanboy.
I love Kota Ibushi. The chances just never come up for me to pick him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? How the picks fall, you end up missing out on so much.
He's kind of my favourite New Japan wrestler. I don't know what he
it's
really
a great
is.
New Japan wrestler to be your favourite. He's so good.
He's just the look is so good. He got a average of 9.26. Sam, you went for Okada.
Yeah, happy with that. Always going to get the points with Okada. I'm happy with the way he scored. That's 3 10s from myself, John, and Brett. Adam, you gave him 9.
Yeah.
Which what would he have to do to get a 10?
Win every single match. He probably did. Did he lose?
Yeah.
No, of course he didn't. He lost quite an important one.
He won the main... Oh, no, he didn't win the main event of Wrestle Kingdom. He lost it.
Yeah, and that's why he only got a 9.
Fair. Okay, can't argue with that.
Brett, you got the winner of the main event, Naito.
Yeah, and the first double champion.
Whoa. Brett's first choice was Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh God,
it's crazy,
yeah,
actually, isn't it?
that's very, very true. Just wanted to
It
point
was.
out sort of the highlights. But Zach was your first pick. He got 8.25. Obviously, a solid pick.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Zack Sabre Jr. is solid. But yeah, most chuffed with Naito finally coming through for me.
That's the thing with Naito is you don't know what version you're going to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally got the double
Why was
champion.
he second pick though? Does anyone remember? Like, was he injured at the time? It seems bonkers.
No,
that
he
lasted to the second
just
round.
totally gone off the boil, as Naito does. Like, he had a great year the year before, I think, and then it was just then it was a really average year for him. So no one was like, gonna. And I think I was umming and ahhing between someone else and Naito, but I was like, no, I'm gonna stick with my man. He's gonna come through. I mean, he didn't get perfect 10s all across,
Yeah, I mean, last year Naito scored a 7.6 overall, which is low by New Japan standards.
Yeah, that really is. Okay, there are some other New Japan picks, but I don't think anyone particularly exciting or any scores that really stand out. So moving on to Indy, if that's cool with you guys.
Yeah.
I am delighted with mine. I got the first pick. In fact, let's play a clip. So Kenny Omega was the top. I am going to hope that my second guy maybe slips through, and I'm going to piss off Brett. And unbelievably, this is a big shock, actually, I think. I'm going to go for Cara Noir.
Oh, that's a huge
whoa.
gamble.
My prediction is this.
We're gonna see him lots, and he's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, we all love him. We're going to see him lots at Riptide. He's starting to feature in other places. I can't see why he wouldn't appear on Progress at some point, and I also can't see why he wouldn't necessarily get up onto NXT UK at some point. He's a great wrestler. He's got a great gimmick, and we all love him. So I'm delighted.
Did you see what they did with Goldust?
Hey, if he's the new Goldust, at least he'll get a 10 from you.
Yeah, no, it's
That's a good point.
good pick.
Cara Noir. What a year.
I think this is the pick of the entire draft for me.
It's a funny one because Sam has abstained.
So I've heard amazing things about Cara Noir. I unfortunately haven't got round to seeing any of his matches this year, but ultimately I can't argue with 3 10s you guys have scored and a 9 from the listener. That's fair play to him.
Sam, did you not watch the pack match on YouTube?
No.
I nearly texted you yesterday to say you need to watch that.
You should have. You see, I watched a lot of matches yesterday.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of shit yesterday.
The thing is, though, I kind of feel like if you scoring him from one match wouldn't really be fair.
But I mean, I just need to see a match to kind of really have an idea as to what's going on, and then kind of I can look at the rest
Do
of their
some
record.
reading. Yeah.
And that match kicked off all the other events for him, I think.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that match
Yeah.
kicked off like the Progress Championship, probably the WXW Carrot win.
Yeah.
Fair
16
play to
carat.
him.
Huge props to Riptide for that, for sticking that out on not on demand at all, though, sticking out for free on YouTube, getting the eyes on him, on that match and on their promotion. It was just such a good PR move for all
That's
involved.
amazing.
And I think, the fact that he got into Progress, that was exciting enough. But then to win the championship and to win WXW, like the 16 carat, is fucking amazing. Now, a lot of people are saying it's basically because, WWE have clearly got him in their sights. So they're like, right, Progress, give him the belt. WXW, give him the win. Because then he's got loads of momentum for when we bring him into NXT UK or something. But who cares about all that politics? He has had a great year and he is amazing.
I mean,
And he
he's earned
deserves
it. That's the thing.
Totally
like,
deserves
Cara
it.
Noir is an amazing wrestler. I haven't
does.
seen him wrestle this year, but like from what I've seen him previously wrestling in Riptide, I've been a big fan. I've got one of his t-shirts. I'm happy to see him doing so well.
I was going to say one weak point is his merch. His t-shirts are pretty designed. Go on, Brett.
Best merch of all wrestlers. Different.
That's big. I quite like Aussie Opens merch.
Yeah, they've had a couple of dodgy t-shirts as well. I don't know who did those.
Getting rinsed. I was just going to
ridiculous.
say,
Yeah.
along with Kara's deserving it, like he, like Okada, tells great stories in the ring. Like the way the match is, and he likes to bring something different depending on who the opponent is. So he's not just recreating the same things. Like he'll give something different depending on what his opponent is, which is really exciting as well. obviously totally gifted wrestler, and like the way he moves in the ring as well is balletic.
Adam,
Yeah.
I want to petition you to increase one of your scores.
Okay.
I want you to have a long, hard think about Adam Page,
Yes. So
Hangman Adam Page, because
your first
his
pick.
year has been incredible. He is the most over guy in AEW at the moment.
Orange Cassidy?
He is the second most over guy in AEW at the moment.
You know, where's the
Put on
gold?
a 6-star match. He's got a tag team belt.
Oh, yeah, it's around his waist. Okay. I didn't look. I was just looking him in the eye. I should have looked
His
down.
beautiful eyes. When he's not putting on amazing matches, he's sending out amazing public service announcements about coronavirus.
Yeah.
The crowd love him. His matches are incredible. The buckshot lariat, in my opinion, best move in wrestling.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I love Adam Page.
Absolutely loving everything about him right now. And I implore you to reconsider.
Sam, go fuck yourself. 10.
All right.
Yeah.
I thought that was it. I thought we had him on the ropes.
No,
there, Sam.
you've done
I
it.
thought
He's
you-
done it.
I've done it.
I'm
I've done
giving him a
it.
10.
Yay.
Oh,
I can't argue with that.
beauty.
I cannot argue with any of that, to be honest with you. He's never been
Thank
one of
you.
my absolute favourites, so maybe that's it. But when I look at that year, the way you described it, I'm happy with that. The listeners average of 8.1, so you're going to try and call each of them up and get them to change their
Do you
score?
know what?
You should.
That's exactly what I'm going to do next.
Leave a
To
little
all you
pause.
listeners, keep an eye out because next year, Hangman Adam Page, #1 pick on Dynamite. That's right, I've already named my roster. He's going to be my keeper.
Wow, okay, that's interesting. Ballsy. Big shout. John, your indie section is off the scale.
Yeah.
It's,
John, tell us
Pretty
your
hot,
three
isn't it?
picks
It's
then.
just obscene.
it's Kenny Omega, Puck, and relatively unknown third-round pick of Chris Jericho.
So yeah,
Who
so
picks Chris Jericho and gets... Oh, unbelievable.
I should make this clear that, as we sort of said earlier, we didn't have AEW as a category, so we decided to put all these people who had either left New Japan or WWE. Even though we knew they were going to AEW, we kept them in the indie area because obviously Pac was doing indie matches and things like that. But Omega, Pac, and Jericho, fucking hell.
And you gave Chris Jericho 10.
And
did.
I think, John,
I think 10 is a fair score.
John,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue with it, but I was just surprised because I thought Adam's never been that hot on his matches.
But he's been
Do you know what,
faultless
actually?
in many ways.
I can't disagree with that. I'm going to have to up my score to a 10.
Yes.
there
John-
you go.
Jericho has had as good a year as he is ever going to have in wrestling.
Actually, you're right. I'm going to up it to a 10 as well.
Brett?
There we go. And do you know what? I've done the same.
Wow.
And also though, like, you know, greatest entrance theme going.
Yeah.
Well, he
I
would
was-
like to make you.
I was
think
also gonna upgrade one of my other scores, which was
Oh,
Pac, and I'm giving him a 10 as well.
Wow.
Oh my
it.
God.
Ooh,
Because
interesting.
he's finally got back to wrestling. He's been, around the world, putting on great matches at AEW, like that match against Kenny Omega, the last one.
Oh, yeah.
Just like, and his promos, like Pac being able to just be the bastard Pac is amazing, and I love it. So
Yeah.
he's a 10 for
Pac
me as well.
is amazing. He's had a great year. My one gripe with him is that I want him to push on more into the title picture for him. He's good enough to be top of the company.
He will. I mean, I think that will. It's just like AEW, they've got like such a list at the moment of
Yeah,
top guys,
that's gonna
which
be
is why they
hotly
put
contested next year.
essentially put the tag belts on Omega and Adam Page, because like those guys deserve gold, but they're not at the
It's the
top
only way they
picture
can
at
get
the
it.
minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kenny
Fair.
Omega, obviously, John, he was your first pick. Sam, you gave him a 10.
I love Kenny Omega. He puts on some of the best matches in the world. He tells amazing stories. Unbelievable.
Don't disagree with any of that, but if we're basing it on the year that he's had and comparing it, we're talking about overachievers, underachievers. Kenny Omega, I think, has got 10s every year that we've done this. This is definitely his least good year since we've been doing it.
It's been a really interesting one though for
Yeah.
him.
Kenny Omega did not score a single 10 last year.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
What did he get?
Kenny Omega got 8.8 last year.
Okay,
Wow.
interesting. And he's on 8.76 this year.
I think this year, like, he's got the AAA ARB. I'm going to say AAA ARB. The AAA Mega Championship under his belt. I know it's not huge, but it's something. He's
Oldest wrestling promotion in the world, I think.
Has it? Wow.
Yeah.
It's a great fact. Absolutely upstaged me there.
That's what Jum does.
All of his matches have been top quality. He was in a 6-star match this year. He was in that amazing Iron Man match. He's been putting on incredible match after incredible match. Not only that, he's been doing a storyline where he's not put himself at the top of the company. Like, Kenny Omega, everyone knows Kenny Omega is good enough to be AEW World Champion. But he's kind of been playing this storyline, this long storyline of not being himself, not kind of performing to his peak. And yet, at the same time, he is still putting on some of the best matches in the world. He's a storyteller and a wrestler. I can't score him less than 10. If anything, 10 is too low.
That's good.
All right, Meltzer.
Okay, right. Well, I think I was going to move on, but there is one more person I want to talk about. I'm aware that we've been going for quite a long time already. We're going to have a break in a minute, and we're going to talk about women and tag teams. But David Starr is somebody who Brett picked. You picked him as your first indie pick. I did. He picked up 2 10s. He got a 10 from me and a 10 from you, Brett. Sam decided to abstain.
Fair.
And my only stuff I've seen from David Starr this year has been on Twitter.
Well, there you go. That is one of the reasons I've given him a 10.
That counts. Been a good Twitter game.
But yeah, I think a great pick. And for me, he is like the fundamental indie wrestler. He wrestles all over the place, all the time. Huge promotions, tiny promotions. With any kind of wrestler, any kind of match. He does death matches. He's had incredible matches at OTT with Jordan Devlin. His Progress run was awful. But he's just such a great wrestler, such a great guy. And this is the indie category. And for me, not including the likes of Jericho and Pac, because they're not really indie people, and Omega and all those, he is the number one indie wrestler for me this year.
More than Cara Noir?
Oh, Adam, I'm going to have to up my score to 10. You're right.
Oh my God.
You're
From
right.
8 to 10.
Huge.
And like the full package as well, because, you know, great matches. Those promos and feuds that were put together for OTT and stuff were just amazing. Like, you know, unfortunately it didn't happen, but like he was the guy that they were going to put up against Moxley, you know?
Yeah.
Like, big, and I love David Starr because he's a proper socialist lefty. You know, he's out there championing your Bernie, he's championing Labour, and, you know, he's championing unions.
Okay,
which is getting him...
mic. Somebody cut Brett's mic.
We don't like bringing politics into wrestling, but when we do, we know what side we want it on.
Which is getting him, you know, ousted from some companies on the indie scene because of WWE connections.
Yeah.
And he's still, you know, doing what's right. So fucking love David Starr.
And that's why I definitely wanted to keep in the David Starr bit instead of just rushing us along to the break. But we will have that break now. And then we'll be back to talk about some other wrestlers.
EC3 now has Velveteen Dream on the apron.
Velveteen Dream could be in trouble. Wait.
Counter here by Velveteen.
No way.
Dream Valley Driver on the apron.
Right, we're back and we're going to talk about our WWE women picks first. First picks, I had Charlotte as my keeper, obviously, so she went in as my first pick. Sam, Becky Lynch.
Yay! Can't go wrong with Becky. She's had a great year.
I gave her a 10. You guys, we had 2 8s and a 9. Why no perfect 10s?
So she's had a great year, but she's not had a great feud. That's my That's my unfortunate thing. I think she's a great wrestler waiting for a good opponent.
Okay.
Compared to her last year as well.
Yeah, she also had a little bit of a slip up with the ill-fated feud alongside Seth Rollins against Lacey and Baron Corbin.
Okay. Brett, I think we're going to have to play a clip for this.
So we've lost Becky and Charlotte. Oh,
it's tough after this, isn't it? Not knowing what's going on with Ronda.
I'll gamble with Ronda.
Oh, that's a big gamble. Yeah, you got a couple of big gambles. You just
I can't help it.
There you go, Brett. Ronda Rousey. What do you think?
I wish I'd been as up on the news as everyone else.
It was
I
all over
thought
the
she was
place.
having a short break. And no, I didn't think it was like an indefinite, I'm not wrestling again.
So
So
good.
I thought, you know what? Ronda comes back in half a year's time. It will still be a great half a year sort of thing. But no, that definitely wasn't going to be the case.
I have a cheeky prediction that Ronda will be back this weekend.
Probably. Just to, you know.
Really rub salt in the wounds.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think
she's isolating
proper-
hard on the farm.
Yeah, she is.
Oh, is she?
Her
Isolating
Instagram.
hard.
Oh, okay.
You never know, though. I should say that all 4 of us abstained because, you know, she hasn't wrestled, so we couldn't score. But the listeners gave her an average of 1.5, which means that, yeah, she gets an average of 1.5. So rather than
Brutal.
no score, she gets a terrible score. John, Sasha Banks.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I think Sasha, like,
Below average.
yeah,
Yeah.
Rewatched her match at, I think, Extreme Rules with Becky.
oh yeah.
And I've got to be honest, I had her as a 5. I watched that match. Oh, no, sorry, it was Hell in a Cell. I watched that match back, and she nearly got Bulldog onto a chair that was upside down and lost an eye.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I gave her a 6.
Okay.
She's a phenomenal worker, but obviously just hasn't had the opportunity this year, maybe.
I mean, this time last year, they'd had that thing, hadn't they, where they'd sort of kind of stormed out because they lost the titles to the Iconics.
Yeah.
I say
Right,
this time
yeah.
last year, around the time we did the draft anyway. So things were up in the air, and there was even talk of her potentially leaving and going to AEW or something like that, which probably would have been much better,
God,
especially
she
considering
should have
the
left.
women's division at AEW.
Yeah, it'd benefit both of them, wouldn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went for Alexa Bliss, and this is a funny one because I actually want to talk about the scoring. I picked her, but I want to argue that you guys haven't scored her low enough. I've given her a 3.
No.
You guys have given her a 6. She has done nothing this year. She's done a
Wait,
few
wait,
moment of
what?
bliss things, but I mean, wrestling.
But what about the whole tag team with Nikki Cross and the tag belts that they've been winning?
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not really into it that much. I mean,
No, I'm gonna
I think the fact
argue this.
she'd
You've
run a
scored her
belt.
too
Yeah,
low.
I forgot she'd run a belt, so I'm going to up that from a 3 to a 4. But I just think we're so up on Alexa Bliss, and she can be so great. And I think it's the booking, but it just hasn't happened for her, in my opinion.
Man, I'm loving what they've done with Alexa Bliss in recent weeks. Like,
Okay.
I think long-term storytelling with Nikki Cross, everyone was expecting Alexa Bliss to turn on her, and they've not done that at all. They've won me over as a tag team, Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. I think it's a really cute little friendship, and when it eventually does go all Jannetty and Michaels, that too is going to be quite entertaining.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd go with that. I'd watch that feud.
Do you know what? I'm going to put it up to a 4.5. Thanks, Sam. You've improved my score.
You're welcome, man.
Okay, NXT. We got 2 female NXT wrestlers each. Should we just pick out the big hitters? Shayna Baszler for Sam.
Haha. She's killed it this year.
She has. It's a good pick.
Absolutely loved it all year. She's so good.
Been a great champion NXT, and coming up to the main roster and do the stuff with Becky.
Yeah.
She just looks great.
I've just changed mine from a 9 to a 10.
Oh,
I just thought, actually, I was trying to think of a fault, trying to explain why I didn't give her a 10, and I can't think of a reason. Maybe that vampire thing.
I quite like that.
I mean, even then it's different, isn't it? It's cool.
Okay.
I don't know. I love her. She's kind of such a good MMA wrestler.
So
She is. It was the weird Brock booking for Elimination Chamber. And
Yeah, that's fair.
while I do,
9.5.
yeah, I do like Shayna, I don't.
You giveth and you taketh.
Yeah.
It's a good
So
point,
out of
though.
all of these NXT women, there is one person other than Deonna Purrazzo that I feel has been underscored here. And it's by you again, Adam.
Here
And
we
it's
go.
for Rhea Ripley.
Yes. So Rhea Ripley was picked by Brett, second pick. And I will admit, I think I've been swayed because basically the other guys gave her a 10 each. The listeners have given her a 9.9, which is amazing. I gave her a 9, and it was because she did all right in the Mae Young Classic. That was in August. So there was quite a few months where she didn't do anything. But as Brett sort of said, if half a year has been better than most people's full years, then the points are warranted. And her second half of the year has been obscene. So,
Yes.
I cannot argue with giving her a 10.
What I really like about her is that it felt like she's worked her way up. Like, obviously, she went to NXT UK for a bit, got the belt there, did really well there. Then she came back to NXT, did really well there. Then main roster.
Rhea
stuff.
Ripley 100% has done like the Mortal Kombat arcade mode of getting through WWE. Just opponent after opponent, putting on amazing matches. Unbelievable.
That might be pick of the draft for me.
I think that is pick of the draft.
Yeah, maybe that is.
Second pick. I mean, and your first pick, Brett, was Io Shirai. She's had a fucking good
In fact,
year as well.
Kind of looking over the overall scores, we can categorically say, numbers-wise, Rhea Ripley is our wrestler of the year from all of this. Highest score overall.
Wow.
There you
Huge. 9.98.
Including the listeners.
Average.
So
Made up for Ronda.
you can't go wrong with that.
Not quite. Yeah, amazing stuff there. What, any others? Tag teams should we look at? We probably should. I went for Asuka, as we've named her now, and Kairi Sane, and that was kind of a bit of a gamble. They'd just been put together. Paige was in charge of them, but I think definitely in the last sort of 4 or 5 months they've been excellent, and we all love Asuka, don't we?
Yeah.
I have loved this tag team. Asuka has been killing it. Kairi Sane is amazing already. She's charisma in a bottle. The whole thing is just so good. And like Asuka has been going from strength to strength with her new kind of green mist persona.
Yeah.
When she's not dancing, she's spitting mist at people. Meanwhile, Kairi Sane is tying people to ladders. It's batshit insane, and I absolutely love it. And they've made those titles relevant again.
Yeah. Average of 9.08 there. Very good. Sam, on the other hand, your first pick was the
Whoops.
Iconics.
They looked like they were going to have a good year. They were set
were
up to do
champs.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At WrestleMania.
I don't know what happened there. It just kind of fell apart, really.
Amazing on the mic.
Yeah, they're good in the ring. They're amazing on the mic. They had all the parts in place to have an amazing year, and they've just been thrown under the bus.
They were so funny and enjoyable in NXT.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't even know where they are now. I don't think they're currently on TV at the moment, but
Probably a main event somewhere, maybe.
Yeah.
It's rough.
John went for the Usos and Brett went for the New Day, and obviously they're two of the most solid picks you're going to get every single year. They both Usos got 7.62, New Day 7.66. Very similar, very solid. Authors of Pain, John, not so much.
I feel like you guys have scored them quite harshly.
Yeah.
I think the stuff with Seth Rollins has been pretty good.
So you gave them a 7.
weren't-
We've given them 3s and 4s.
Maybe it's because I don't love Seth Rollins either, so putting them with Seth Rollins, like the only person in that stable I enjoy is Buddy Murphy.
I want to point out, these guys were put with Seth Rollins and they weren't even made the tag champions in that stable.
Yes.
There you go.
Fair
Case
point.
closed.
Fair point.
NXT we should go for next. I think, John, you got first pick for this, and another pick to get perfect 10s across the board. Undisputed Era.
I also did very high 9s from the listeners as well. Yeah, very happy with that. Draping in gold.
Are they the second best pick of the whole draft?
They are indeed, yeah. I mean, the prophecy, John believed in the prophecy. It paid off for him.
Did.
High scores.
Incredible.
Happy with that.
Who else do we have? Grizzled young veterans, Sam?
Yeah, happy with them. They've been really good this year.
They've had a massive year.
Brilliant year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good.
Amazing.
I've really come round on Zach. Oh fuck, what's his surname?
Zach Gibson.
Gibson. Thank you. I keep forgetting his surname. I think they're a really good tag team. I'm looking forward to seeing more what they do in main roster NXT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And James Drake is a great, like, straight, person against Zach. Like, it's good when you have someone that is as full of character as Gibson to have someone who is as straight as Drake next to him.
Yeah.
It just makes it perfect. Drake on his own, not, doesn't really work as well, but next to Zach, it's just perfect.
I'm going to give him an extra half a point for what you've all just said, guys. 8.76 for them. Just quickly, Brett, you went for Moustache Mountain. Kind of just a decent year. Just not wrestling enough. Like, Tyler Bates should just be wrestling more matches. Okay, we don't watch NXT UK, so I haven't seen many, but I just feel like he's...
Do you know, I thought, considering who we obviously hadn't picked at this point, I thought I'm going to get individual scores, put together for
Yeah.
these two guys. And Tyler Bates going to do something great, so it's going to work out. But, he hasn't really had enough to do. And maybe that's just because I don't watch NXT UK weekly.
Adam,
He had some good title matches, but yes.
I want to upgrade a couple of my scores for your tag team division, which, can I say, is fantastic. Viking Raiders, Asuka and Kairi Sane, Street Profits, and LAX. I mean,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Thank you. So what are you upgrading?
Well, so LAX, they've obviously now kind of proud and powerful, or
Yeah.
Ortiz and Santana, whatever we're calling them. That's got to be at least 8.5.
Thank you very
And it
much.
kills me to give them this because of how much I hate Angelo Dawkins. But Street Profits can't, for me, score lower than a 10.
A 10.
Yeah,
10 for Street Post.
They have had an incredible run on the main roster so far. They've got titles, they've had screen time, they've got charisma, and they know how to put on an amazing match. No one jumps higher than Montez Ford.
Yeah, okay. I will up mine to
This is
8.5.
great.
And also, potentially the best rope shake, even better than the Warrior.
Huge.
With Montez
huge
Ford.
shout.
But he doesn't have the
Yeah.
tassels.
He doesn't, but you just see his face when he's doing it. He's,
Oh, but the Warrior's
like,
face, for God's sake. You
that
can't-
guy does have swagger.
Okay, this has probably been the friendliest draft we've ever done, because I think quite often we have times where we're arguing people scoring too high and trying to bring them down. There's been a lot of people being convinced to go higher, and
It's
I like this.
been an amazing year for wrestling.
It
Yeah.
has.
Have you noticed we've not even bothered to try and up your Young Buck score?
No. So
I
let's
know,
talk
right?
about
3
let's
tens.
talk about the indies. LAX we just talked about. Young Bucks was John's pick. 3 tens from you guys. 8.4 from the listeners. See, guys, 8.4.
Yeah,
I went for a
surprised
9.
by that.
I'm not the biggest fan. Obviously, I'm not going to give them a 10.
That's fair. We've had Trent Seven in the draft before, and he's never done well either.
Yeah. Brett went for Gorillas of Destiny. We don't need to worry about talking about them for too long, do we? If at all.
No.
They've had a great year.
And great
The
testing.
final debate of this, probably of the whole podcast, because it's the last pick we're going to talk about. Aussie Open. Sam's pick, a team that we all love. I abstained because Mark Davis has been injured for months.
You didn't go to Royal Quest at the Copper Box.
Thing is, I did go to Progress,
Yeah.
and that was like one of my matches of the year he was in. But I just feel like for the last half of the year, they haven't wrestled.
But I mean, like,
But if his first
Yeah.
half was really good,
Yeah. Okay, right, there we go. Getting rid of my abstain. I have to score them slightly lower though for that, because if I was talking about what Carl Fletcher has been doing, he has been doing singles stuff, and it hasn't. I mean, I don't know. I'll go to a 7.5.
fair.
yeah, I think I'll give it a 6. I'm going to go to a 7.5 as well.
Okay.
Cool.
All right then. So
Right.
that is all the scores. I think Sam will end up doing some beavering away in the background to work
Well,
out some
I was
stuff.
going to say, I've got all of the code here ready to go. Shall we put in the final scores?
Shall we have a little break? Or
Well,
shall
I
we-
was going to say, before
straight
we
in?
look at the final scores, should we just point out some notable absences and some huge picks that are going to come up next year? John Moxley.
Yeah.
Isn't it mad that we didn't know what was happening and we didn't really rate him? But
We didn't know where he was going, though, did we, I guess?
No, and also, you didn't know how long he was going to be missing Ford, because obviously Pac was out of action for a long time
Yeah.
initially.
Also, we weren't a fan of Dean Ambrose
it's
particularly.
very true.
Yeah, I always enjoyed Dean as a character, but not loving the in-ring, but like his in-ring since leaving is just awesome.
It's the wrestler he wants to be, I think.
Yeah.
Darby Allin is another one. I
Oh,
think
God,
he
yeah.
is going to be one of the most wanted in next year's draft.
I love Darby Allin. I was watching his match last week and I was like, oh, God, I love this guy so
Yeah.
much.
And in fact, I mean, the majority of the AEW roster, that's what's exciting, is we're obviously going to have to sort of shuffle this about a bit to include AEW. But again, every year we do this, our knowledge of wrestlers, the number of different wrestlers around the world just grows and grows. And it's just going to be so interesting to see who gets picked. I remember the first draft we ever did, we were picking the likes of Luke Harper. I mean, he may make it again in his new guys, but just basically dregs of WWE. And now there's just so many good picks. It's
And Mark Henry was picked in our first ever draft.
there you go.
I think I picked
Mark
him.
Henry.
I think I picked him because I liked his theme music,
Incredible.
which, to be fair, is a banger.
Yeah.
I think I might pick Big Show, maybe.
Anyway, Sam, you've been beavering away. Can you reveal the final scores? This is going to get revealed. It's going to be revealed on our spreadsheets, but so that it doesn't, you don't just listen to some silence while some guys look at the spreadsheets. Sam will also reveal the scores to you guys.
Before we reveal the final score, shall we reveal the hardest part of the ring 2019 roster of the year?
Yes. How do we work that out?
So we have taken the highest scorer from each round and put them into the ultimate roster, the Hall of Fame for this year.
Do it.
This year's hardest part of the ring draft is Daniel Bryan, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Buddy Murphy, Kofi Kingston, Adam Cole, Keith Lee, Dominik Dijakovic, Will Ospreay, Tetsuya Naito, Cara Noir, Pac, Chris Jericho, Becky, Bayley, Liv Morgan, Shayna Baszler, Rhea Ripley, Session Moth Martina, Bea Priestley, The Usos, Asuka and Kairi Sane, The Undisputed Era, and The Young Bucks. That's a roster. I'd watch that.
Yeah, that is decent.
Yeah. It's missing some big slow guys, though. You know, big slow guys.
Okay, so here we go with the final scores, and we're going to reveal them in reverse order from our positions last year. So it's going to go me, Adam, Brett, then John.
Okay.
All right, so my final score for the year...
So it's an average, isn't it?
It's correct. It's an average of all the scores, and it's 7.456.
Ooh.
It's quite
Very
high.
good, yeah.
Not bad, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Adam, your final score for the year...
Ooh.
7.593.
Surprising. I was convinced I was going to come last.
I thought I was going to score higher than that.
Wow.
Fair.
Okay. Yes.
Brett, your score for the year.
Dun, 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 dun.
7.573.
Below me.
Adam,
Not last.
you are in the running.
What? I was convinced I'd come last.
All to play for here.
I mean,
Who's
just
going to win?
just surely, John.
Oh, I'm nervous. I'm really nervous, guys.
7.593 to beat.
Oh, I don't know, actually. Looking at those scores, like...
Come on.
Yeah, I think
Come on, Sam.
Adam's got
Come on.
this.
You don't have many low scores, Adam.
Come on, Sam. Reveal.
Oh,
This year's winner.
Oh, he smashed it.
7.762.
He's smashed
Oh,
it.
you guys got my hopes up there. I was going to scoring thinking I was coming last, and then just before the end I thought I was going to win.
Oh.
Unbelievable stuff.
Also-
I can't believe I've come last.
3-time
John,
champ.
that was bloody loud, that scream. We can have some distortion on that. Congratulations to the great and merry John Bash.
3-time winner.
3-time winner. Back to back.
Back to back to back.
Hat
3
trick.
in a row.
Wow, John, you were very good at this.
Oh,
Do you want to know something, Adam? In my scoring, you won by 4 points.
I honestly, because I had people like Alexa Bliss, I just thought, and I'd scored her so low, and Ruby Riott, we didn't mention, she got an average of 3.06. I just thought that was it. I was screwed. In fact, Sam, who did get the lowest score?
I did. Yeah, I've come last. We can say it was unbelievably close. All of us are within 0.3 of each other. Like, I'm not upset with my roster at all. I would have been nice to have won, but it's solid. I can't complain.
Unbelievable. Okay, well, there we go. So we will be back with the hardest part of the ring draft for 2020 in a few weeks. So obviously we'll get WrestleMania out of the way. We'll probably have a week off so that we've got time to write all our lists of the wrestlers that we want. And also with everything going on, it's obviously a little harder to get stuff done. Well, for some people, I mean, if you've got a child like me, it's bloody busy all the bloody time now. How are you guys finding it? Are you just chilling out all the time, or?
Work is very busy for me at the moment.
Is it?
Which is not cool because everyone else seems to be having a lovely time.
It's so different. It's just, you could get furloughed and get loads of time off on 80%. That could be really good for you. It could be really bad for you. You could get laid off, which is obviously terrible. Your business could crumble, which is awful. You could stay the same. Brett, are you sort of staying the same? Or are you losing work?
No, I've lost some work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm doing a few little bits. It could be better.
Yeah.
But
Is that Harry?
it is what it is. Yeah.
Harry's there.
Harry,
Love that cat.
Harry wants his dinner.
Always love that cat. And Sam, I suppose I should check in with you. I wasn't planning this big check-in, but how's your work?
Yeah, kind of might get furloughed. I guess we'll see what happens. I'm really busy, so we'll see what happens.
Okay. But whatever happens, the podcast will remain. And if we all lose our jobs, then the quality will go through the roof because we'll have nothing else
If
to
we
do.
lose our jobs, our podcast becomes our job.
Exactly. We'll start a YouTube channel, get a Patreon.
To be honest, I could do with a little bit of furlough to just really plan out next year's draft because I am not coming last for 3 years in a row.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Throwing the gauntlet down now.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that is it for this year. Let's have a quick break and then we will wrap up with all the end stuff.
Ripley driving Banks' lower back into the hardest part of the ring.
I wouldn't put anything past these women from NXT.
Next podcast, as I mentioned, is WrestleMania. WrestleMania that has already been recorded in front of no fans.
Yeah, it feels weird this. I'm always very excited about WrestleMania, but I don't feel very excited about this WrestleMania.
I know. And also the whole weekend, like all of that indie wrestling that usually goes on. None of it's happening. So weird. If anybody wants to get in touch in the meantime, or if people want to submit their screenshots for the t-shirt competition, Brett, how do they do that?
They can send their emails to hardestpartofthering@gmail.com. They can, I guess, tag us or tell us on social media. We are at hardestpartpod. That's Instagram, Facebook and Twitter.
Lovely stuff. Thanks very much for listening. If you made it all the way to the end, then massive congrats. You're a hardcore listener and we love you. And thank you to everybody who did the scoring.
Yes, yeah, big thank you for those people. That's
Yeah, amazing.
And finally, massive congratulations to John.
Oh, thanks guys. Thanks very much. Thank you. A lot of hard work went into this roster. A lot of management.
It kills me.
PAYE alone was a nightmare.
All right, until next week, it's goodbye from me, Adam. Goodbye from Sam.
See you later.
Goodbye from the champ.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from Brett.
Goodbye.
That was the hardest part of the ring.
That is the hardest